from the Ticats Audio Network. This is the Ticats This Week.
Another edition of Ticats This Week coming at you. It is a Labor Day edition, non-stop Labor Day talk on this episode. We're going to have our weekly picks, Labor Day special. We'll talk about hotheads, the selling tickets, and the run game as well. And an important note, we know that the Labor Day Classic at Hamilton Stadium is a sellout once again. Shout out to Ticats fans. They're coming out to party and looking for a big dub against the Double Blue. Monday afternoon, it is going to be loud and proud in Steeltown. Tiger Cats pregame begins at 1:30. Kickoff is at 2:30 on the Ticats Audio Network. And these two guys will be with us for the ride. My name's Rick Zamperin. Here's Simoni Lawrence and Matt Bucknor as well. Gentlemen, good day once again.
Woo! What an honor to be here with my boy Rick and Matt. I missed y'all during the bye week, man. Even though it felt like a bye week because we didn't get to talk or see no real good football. I mean,
football games,
got some
right?
good football games, but we didn't get to see the Ticats, the best team in the world, play.
And it's a great day to have a great day. I just want to add that to it, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I don't think it was a great day for Bucknor last week, though. Talk about it, Rick.
And,
hold on.
Listen. Hey, listen.
Hey, we're moving on to next week. We're moving on to next week. We're moving on.
Buckner's moving on to week 13. Now, before we get to our weekly picks, I do want to remind fans that not only is it the Labor Day Classic on Monday, it's also Peer-Later Tackle Hunger Day. So don't forget to bring in non-perishable food items. Make those cash donations, always appreciated as well. All the money raised goes to an awesome cause, as we know. And we also know that Steeltown comes out hot and heavy on Labor Day to support Peer-Later Tackle Hunger, so continue to do so. We also want to get into, Matt, I know you're loving this one as well, the inaugural Ted Govaya Bowl this coming Friday. Tell us what's going on.
Okay, the Hamilton Hurricanes put together, it's the first annual Ted Govaya Bowl. The head coach, Barry Emo, is also a really good friend of Ted Govaya. We all know that Ted is, he's in a fight right now. And with cancer, and so the proceeds from this Ted Govaya Bowl is going to go to the Canadian Cancer Society. So what they'd like to do is get as many fans as we can to come out, not only support the Hurricanes, but of course support Ted and his fight team. Ted has been, there's been a lot of people that have been rallying behind that, and just what he's done with the football community. He's been a part of not only the Canadian Football League, but just the CAGFL. He started his run and with the Burlington Braves and continued all through, and just has made an impact on so many young men in the Canadian Football League. Gave a lot of guys a lot of chances, myself included. And so I think it'd just be a great opportunity for everybody to go out and support on Friday night at Hamilton Stadium.
Absolutely, and this is such an amazing thing just because, like, Ted's fighting something that a lot of people's fighting, Cancer is something that everybody, like some people and families really go through that,
Absolutely.
This week alone, I had a Make-A-Wish, where the family fighting cancer, and they didn't give him a lot of time. And, we got to go over there and celebrate him and his daughter's second birthday. And, he was so strong going through cancer. His name's Steven, longtime Ticat fan. And there's a lot of guys that's going through the same fight Ted's going through right now. And it's just amazing that the Hurricanes are throwing this event. I heard that I'm handing out the trophy at the end of it, so I'll definitely be at the game. Also, we're going to give the MVP of the game the new championship mindset throwback jersey.
Okay.
So, we're gonna spice it up. So everybody pull up to this new game. We'll make it happen. And anytime we get the opportunity to support one of ours, that's what we do. So we'll all be at this game supporting the Hamilton Hurricanes. But listen, Hamilton Hurricanes, last time I did something for y'all told me to talk crap about the beef eaters in London. And they beat the dog breaks out of y'all, and y'all had all those kids in my messages talking crazy. So if I come to this game and y'all don't represent, oh man, we doing hitting drills after.
Hey Sim, I was coaching the Hurricanes. I was coaching the Hurricanes last year, and so. And man, it was when you came on, you're talking all that crap against the beef eater. I'm like, okay, these guys are gonna get the boys a little extra hype. And no, we didn't show up that game. We laid an egg. But the Canes right now, they're 2-1. They're 2-1.
Okay.
They're on a real good run right now. Won the last couple games, and then they have another big one this Friday, of course. And the defense, hey, Sim, you're a defensive guy. The defense hasn't allowed a touchdown all season. So
I can only
shout out.
imagine that contributes to Matt Bucknor helping coach the defense.
You know what? I'm not even going to take any credit. The men that are in the office right now, they're doing their thing, so I can't even take any credit.
He said, I don't know. I see the depth chart this week.
Shout out to the Hurricanes for putting on the inaugural Ted Gavaya Bowl this Friday night, Hamilton Stadium. They're taking on the GTA Grizzlies, and this will be the first. It's the first annual event, so it's going to go for on and on and on in support of the Canadian Cancer Society, as Matt mentioned, and Ted gave his blessings as well to the Hurricanes to put this on. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll tell you what's a lot of fun. The Tiger Cats coming off the bye week, because since 2021 we've been keeping tabs on this. The Ticats are 1-11 going into the bye. They lost going into the bye in Regina. They're 10-2 coming out of the bye, which sets up a big game on Labor Day. So let's get to our Week 12 picks, and we'll make our selections for Labor Day weekend. There's only 3 games this week, but last weekend there were 4, and both Simoni and I went 3-1. Matt
Give me a
struggled.
high five. Let me get a high five, Rick.
Struggled. Matt struggled to 2-2, so we're all caught up. We all have 5 correct over 2 weeks.
Hey,
so
you guys could have waited for me to fall. Because I had a great week 1. I was feeling nice, and you guys made a little comeback, so it's all right.
Listen, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So we'll go with.
That's it.
We'll go. You know what? I'll make my picks first this week. I don't mind doing
sir.
so, because I have a feeling we might have all the same picks, but we might not. Labor Day weekend is strange. Weird things happen. So this week we have 6-4 Winnipeg at 8-2 Saskatchewan. We have the 4-6 Elks at 7-3 Calgary in the Battle of Alberta, and of course we have the Labor Day weekend in Hamilton, 6-4 Ticats against the 3-8 Argonauts. I'm going to go with Saskatchewan because they're hurting. They're hurting mentally. I'm sure they're hurting physically after that game against Calgary, and they want to prove to them and the entire league that they are a Grey Cup contender. They're at home. I know the Bombers are playing well, but I like the Rough Riders to come back and get a W on Labor Day weekend. I also have Calgary at home. They're going to hold serve. They've been playing well. They're coming off a high, and I think Edmonton's going to give them a run for their money, but I'm going to go with the Stampeders at McMahon Stadium. And in Steeltown, gotta go with the black and gold. There's no way I can pick the double blue. Ticats in an onslaught, both offensively and defensively. They're going to take the Argos to the woodshed. Give me Hamilton at home. So I've got the Riders, the Stamps, the Ticats. Matt Bucknor, make your picks for Labor Day weekend. Who do you got?
Oh, baby. Okay, so we're gonna start. With the Winnipeg and Rough Riders, and I'm going. Rick, I thought we were going to be the same on this one, but I'm going Winnipeg. I'm going Winnipeg to beat Sask in Sask, and the reason being is because they've got a little bit of they found a little bit of the mojo with Brady Oliveira, and he came out smoking last week, and so I think he's going to do the same thing this week against Sask. I think that, and then Sask, like you mentioned, they're hurting a little bit, and so right now I think they're going to be in a little bit of a funk, and I think they're going to stay in that funk for an extra week, and we'll see how that goes. So I'm taking Winnipeg, and then we're going Hamilton. Against Toronto. Again, Toronto came off a big dub too, though. They put up a bunch of points, but again, that little momentum is going to slow down when they come to Hamilton Stadium next week. And then I'm going with Calgary. I love what you said there, Rick. Edmonton they're doing their thing right now with Fajardo back at the helm. But Calgary has the hot hand right now, so I'm going to go with Calgary.
All right, so I got my picks in. Matt's picks are in. Simone Lawrence, your Labor Day weekend picks are?
Hamilton. I like Hamilton. Hamilton beats everybody this week, of course. It's like Hamilton going to. I got Hamilton. It's going to be a real good game. We're going to talk about it later. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think we're going to pull this one out on Labor Day, absolutely. And then I'm going to go Saskatchewan versus Winnipeg. This is going to be a fun game because I had a bad feeling about this Saskatchewan football team going against Calgary because of the style of play that Calgary can do. And I was just like, who else can mimic this style? That's Winnipeg. So I am going to go with Winnipeg against Saskatchewan. And then this Calgary and Edmonton game. This is the game where this Calgary and Edmonton game. This game is kind of like, it's so frustrating because it's like, If there's anybody, it's this game is going to be won by the Edmonton Elks on this game. Just be, I, I think they're going to surprise Calgary because Calgary's running into one of these games where it's Labor Day, but it's Labor Day for real for Edmonton. Edmonton's on a high, and they need to keep winning. Every game is a playoff game. That taste of win they got against Saskatchewan, that's going to make them feel a little too good for my liking going into against a hungry Edmonton team. So yeah, I'm gonna go Edmonton, Winnipeg, and Hamilton this week.
I feel you on that one. This could be one of those, downers for Cal. Like they're on the high, beating one of the best teams, and then they face their provincial rivals, and the Elks get them. So Simoni has Saskatchewan, Edmonton, Hamilton. Matt is going with Winnipeg, Calgary, Hamilton, and I got Saskatchewan, Calgary, Hamilton.
Oh no, I went Winnipeg, Calgary. I went Winnipeg.
Oh, you went Winnipeg.
Winnipeg, Edmonton, Hamilton.
Edmonton, Hamilton. All right.
Yes.
I got my spreadsheet in front of me. I got it. All right. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Labor Day because on the line, if the Ticats win when the Ticats win on Monday, they will claim once again the Ballard Trophy for winning the season series against the Argonauts. It is a wonderful gift from Harold Ballard many, many years ago. Should the Ticats somehow, some way, lightning strikes and the Argos somehow win this game, it'll be Hamilton at Toronto, Week 18 for the Ballard Cup. But listen, they got it. They got it in the bag. Speaking of wins and losses, the Ticats are 37-15-1 against Toronto on Labor Day, which is an awesome record. Simoni, we all know that Hamilton and Toronto, it's the best rivalry on Labor Day weekend. Which one is the next best? Is it Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, or is it Calgary, Edmonton?
You got to go Winnipeg, Saskatchewan. You have to. Just because of how the league's been the past decade. Like, when I first got into the league, it was definitely Edmonton, Calgary.
Yeah.
That was the one to watch. It still had that rivalry. Edmonton was still like the city of champs. The environment was still the environment. But boy, that Banjo Bowl done heated up with Willie Jefferson, Zach and them getting over there. Like, that game heated up. And Saskatchewan, they got good football team every single year. So I got to give it to our little brothers, giving us the warm-up game before the show come on, because we're the show. That's why we go on first every single year. We're the best. This is the best Labor Day game is Hamilton versus Toronto. Not even close. But the runner-up for me got to be Winnipeg and Saskatchewan.
All right. Matt, do you agree with that?
I got to agree with that Sask Winnipeg. For myself, playing in Winnipeg for a couple of seasons, and being a part of both the Labor Day Classic and the Banjo Bowl, it is something that's the both fan bases, they travel well for those games too. So you see, the Sask is going to host that home game, but Winnipeg fans are going to travel, and vice versa. So it makes it a really fun atmosphere, a fun environment. Of course, there's going to be a little bit of chirping back and forth in the media and all that stuff going back and forth. But I got to go with those two matchups. And Sim, I love that you mentioned this because I was going to talk about that too. Is just the matchups with how strong both Winnipeg and Sask has been. Like, Sask has been one of the top teams and going to the Western Final a handful of seasons too, and then falling short a couple times to Winnipeg. So that rivalry it's there, and it's definitely heating up, especially with Sask's defense, the way that they've been playing, and Winnipeg's defense led by Willie, and then in past years they had Adam Big Hill, and it's just been it's been a lot back and forth. And so I think that's been that's got to be another close Labor Day classic that fans need to tune into as well.
Yeah, there was a point in time where Calgary, Edmonton was, I think, a close second to Toronto, Hamilton. Like, they had some outstanding teams, superhuman quarterbacks, awesome players on defense and special teams as well. But over the last 10, 15 years, Saskatchewan and Winnipeg has taken over that number 2 slot in terms of fandemonium, excitement on the field, the level of play, the teams being really good and challenging for division titles, and that just lends to, a higher stakes when it comes to Labor Day, because this is the push to the stretch drive to the playoffs. So absolutely, I agree with you guys. Saskatchewan, Winnipeg is definitely number 2 when it comes to Labor Day weekend excitement. Simoni, we'll stay with you on this one. Ticats fans have long said, I've heard it, I'm sure you've heard it as well, if Hamilton does not win the Grey Cup, they better win on Labor Day. Did you hear that from fans? And what does Labor Day mean to you?
It means everything. And you're absolutely right about that, Rick. Those that don't study history repeat history. Look at our coach right now. We had a bad season last year where we did not make the playoffs. But you want to know what made the season okay? We got to go and give it another shot. Is because we swept the Grey Cup champions, being the Toronto Argonauts last year, not only in every game, but especially on Labor Day when everybody was watching. And that's going to make it stay in the whole city's mind, because you're going to be like, hey, you remember that game we went to last year and the Hamilton Ticats beat the crap out of that blue team, the powder blue team? Yeah, that was such a good game, So that is the standard. Every time I remember my parents, with my first Labor Day that we lost, I was hurt in 2022. That was my first Labor Day I missed. And, it was just like the air. I couldn't even breathe. The air was stink. I couldn't, everything was messed up when you lose on Labor Day. It's like a feeling that nobody wants to feel. So this is the game. Do not get embarrassed on Labor Day, because you get embarrassed on Labor Day, everybody sees it. The whole city sees it. And, the fans are unforgiving on Labor Day. That's just the fact, Rick.
Yeah. Matt, did you hear it on Labor Day, whether you were in Hamilton or Winnipeg?
Yeah, so for me, I grew up in Hamilton, and so going back to the Ivor Wynn Stadium days, that people are, they're filing in, they're taking the day off. Well, everyone's got the day off already, but most people, even if they have to go to work, they're calling it sick. They're calling it sick anyway, so they can. Right, they're taking the next day off. So this Labor Day game. It's Christmas in the summertime. Yeah. Right, so it's Christmas in the summertime. People, if they have a little bit of a plan, they're canceling the plan or they're ending that plan early so they can make their way to this Labor Day Classic. And fans are going to talk about it. They talk about this game weeks and weeks and weeks heading up to it. And this is the one. This is one of them. I know for the players, this is just another game on the schedule, but this is a big one. The fans, especially, this game, it's a sellout game. So that shows how big this game, and the game sold out. How long ago did that game sell out, Rick?
Oh, August 22nd, I think they announced it.
Come on, so the game's been sold out, right? And so people are anticipating this game, and they want to see a show. And there's going to be a show, and Hamilton does such a great job with not only the game side of things, but just the fan experience. And so I think that's one of the biggest things that the fans look forward to, is just how good of a job that the Hamilton Ticats and the Hamilton Sports Group, they do such a great job on putting this whole show together on Labor Day. So I think that's one of the biggest things, and fans want to see a dub. So let's go, let's get it.
Yeah, I've been a fan of this league for many, many years, but it wasn't until I came to Hamilton in 2000 where I really realized that, listen, if we don't win a Grey Cup, we damn better be sure to win on Labor Day. So, and more often than not, the Ticats have. I mean, they feel the energy from the crowd. They're going on, whether it was old Ivor Wynn Stadium or now the new facility, and just laying the wood to the Double Blue or the other opponents that they did play on Labor Day weekend over the years. I know most of them has been against Toronto, but they've had some oddball games against Montreal and whatnot. But they've shown up on Labor Day, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Simoni, we've seen tempers run hot in past Labor Day games, which can get teams into penalty trouble, which we don't want to see. Is that a message that the coaches are sharing with the players leading up to these rivalry games?
Absolutely. Keep your composure. The thing is, the game's going to get boiled down to who can line up the correct way, who can execute. That's all football's ever about. Everything else is just noise and chaos. What you want to do out there is impose your will by hitting, but all that back and forth shoving and stuff is going to happen, but don't get penalties being stupid, because those are called stupid penalties because they're controllable factors. Anytime you can control yourself getting a 15-yard penalty, that's bad for your team. So the coaches are going to harp a lot. They're going to be like, look, you guys go out here, don't commit any stupid penalties just because you want to show how tough you are. The way you show how tough you are is you win the football game.
Yeah, man, it's not like in hockey where if you give a team, if a team takes a penalty, the other team gets a power play. Like in football, you're giving the other team momentum, field position, like they're gaining something out of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be really curious to see this stat, but a lot of times 15-yard penalties that Sim was referring to, those lead to points in a lot of instances. And so you never want to be that guy where you're taking a UC or UR, or you're doing something that's just out of character, and then it's cost, and you're taking a selfish penalty that could end up costing the team. And so one of the things, of course, the temper is going to be high, the emotions are going to be high, and I think it's great to play with that emotion. It's great to play with that energy. It's great to play with that passion. But you got to play within the game, and you got to just say, listen, what's my job? What's my role? I'm going to make a play, and I'm going to go celebrate with my teammates. I'm going to make a play, or I'm going to make a big hit, or I get a big touchdown. I'm going to celebrate with my teammates. I'm going to bring it to the sideline, and we're moving on to the next play. We're not getting involved with any cheap stuff with this opponent, because we don't want to cost our teammate. We don't want to be that guy that costs our team.
And in the environment, it's tough because it's an emotional game, Rick and Matt. Like, it's an
Exactly.
emotional football game, especially in a sellout crowd in Hamilton. It
Yeah.
feels
Hmm.
like you got to do a little more. And that's why, like, when I used to play football, Matt and Rick, I always used to try to make some kind of chaos on, whether that was yelling, cussing, doing something just to make somebody think of something other than football. Because this game is so mental that you don't have time to be worrying about all that other stuff going on unless you're like extremely sharp. And most people aren't extremely sharp. We're dealing with a bunch of kids that can't sit down for more than 2 seconds. So they got a lot to focus, you know what I mean? So you got to be able to focus in the chaos, and that's what you're going to have to do on Labor Day games. You got to be able to be like, wow, I appreciate everything going on right now, and the way I can show y'all how much I appreciate it is by performing the correct way. Absolutely.
Is it a
Yeah, and
delicate?
just
Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I was just gonna say, but part of it too, sometimes the media can kind of get involved in certain weeks, especially this week. They're gonna try to build things up, and try to pull up some quote unquote bulletin board material, things like that, and then maybe spice things up, saying they could create that narrative. I haven't read about it or anything like that, but maybe Deshaun Amos is coming out, or they have the former Argos on the Ticats. How are they going to perform? And they said this about your play, and they said this about his play, and they could try to stir up the pot a
I
little bit.
heard what
But
they were
again,
saying. I heard what they were saying.
I
I
wrote it
heard them
down.
say. I heard them say that they rookie safety was better than Goose. I heard them say
Ooh,
McFadden was better than Peters. I heard them
okay,
say the new receiver that's coming is going to eat up our DBs. I heard them say we're going to run the ball all day on the defense. I heard all of that already. Because
okay.
look, at the end of the day, you don't got to listen to the media. You know what the other team thinks they're going to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, the media is here to do our job. My job is to make this game as anticipated as possible. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And that's just the way it's going to be. The Hamilton Tiger Cats is on a roll, but they just lost 2 in a row.
Right.
Toronto's coming off of 50, putting up 50 points against the team we just lost to. So that's what they're saying right now. That's what they're saying. They're not hiding from none of that. Nobody's hiding from that. And you can't get lost in that, especially when you listening to the media or whatever. You know what it is. Everybody
Gotta
has a job to
focus.
do. Just don't get embarrassed doing your job.
Amen.
Back to the penalty, and again, it's Labor Day. It's sold out. Two bitter rivals going back to back, against each other. Is from a coaching standpoint. I know you guys haven't been in this role. I know Matt with the Hurricanes, yeah, but not at the CFL level. But from a
Right.
coaching standpoint, is there a delicate balance because you want to get your guys ready to go, right? Like this is the biggest game of the year at the moment. You're facing your provincial rivals. We want you to go, all out, bring everything. Sam, you mentioned, winning the hitting battle. But at the end of the day, there's a line there as well, and you don't want to cross that line and get your team into trouble.
You just got to be hot. You got to be well coached, right? There's ways to win the aggressive battle early in the game and let the other team know what kind of time you're on. So let's start it off like this, Hamilton Tiger Cats. Like, on Labor Day, I like to tell whoever's playing the front line on kick return, you know what? Don't even take your drop. Act like you're taking a drop and just smoke somebody on the front line when they're running down on kickoff. Go and find their most aggressive player on kickoff and run up to him and just go hit him. right when he still has his head down. And you're allowed to do that. That's part of football. There's so many opportunities in football to enforce your wills where you don't have to commit penalties. And the only people that normally commit penalties are the people that are getting beat up because they can't take no more. So now they got to cheat and do all this extra stuff. Because anytime you commit a penalty, that's what you're doing. You're cheating because you can't do the real thing within inside of the rules of the game.
Should be a good one. Tiger Cats pregame on Monday begins at 1:30. Kickoff on the Ticats out.
Y'all better not let them talk about y'all like that. That's crazy.
Ticats are 6-4. They've lost their last two. The Argos, winners of their last game, they've improved to 3-8. This is going to be a wonderful Labor Day classic. Matt, let's go to you on this point. The Argos, as Sim mentioned, they just scored 52 points against BC last week. The Ticats put up 51, we shall remind everyone, against Toronto back in Week 5. So should the over-under be 103.5 points because these two offenses are going nuts? Or is this a game for the defenses to flex their muscle? What do you think?
This is an opportunity, definitely, for the Hamilton defense for sure to flex their muscle again, because they went in and they blew Toronto up in that last matchup, and this is an opportunity for them to show it again. And this is a completely different, and I feel a better defense compared to when they played earlier in the season. And so this is going to be their opportunity to prove that. Now Toronto, on the flip side, they're also reading some of that bulletin board material, and they're saying, hey, listen, this is not the same team that we had a week ago, or that week we played Hamilton. We just broke the brakes off of BC. And this is the same BC team that beat Hamilton. So they have a little bit of that confidence coming into this game. 103 over under. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. But I don't think it's going to go that. I don't think it's going to go that wild this game. I think it's going to be a control. I think it's going to be a control game. I think we might see a little bit of the run from Hamilton too, with Greg Bell coming in. I think he's going to have those fresh legs. I think the bye week was, I think, just well timed for him and the rest of that team. And so 11-1 all time coming out of the byes. That's you got to go advantage Hamilton and see these guys come flying out, because they did play. We've been talking about it. They did play four games, 20 days. Now they get some time to rest those legs. You have guys like Tim White. You got Tim White kind of he's revving up the engine. You got guys like Keandre Smith, who's going to be coming out fresh. Bo Levi, fresh mind, fresh legs, because we know we've been seeing Bo. We've seen Bo rush the ball now. So he might take off. He might take off next week, but our next game, I should say. But again, I think this is an advantage Hamilton. And again, like we talked about, you mentioned the defense. I'm excited to see what this defense does, because we've been seeing a lot of the great play from Jamal Peters. We've been seeing great play from Goose. We've been seeing great play from Verisuk and Ray Wilborn. So we've been seeing the individual play, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity for them to put it all together come this game day.
Yeah, those Ferraris like Tim White and Kenny Lawler and Keandre Smith, they've been purring in the garage, and those big Ram trucks on the offensive and defensive lines, they're revving their engines, they're well rested, ready to go. Simoni, offensive showcase or defensive slobber knocker on Monday? Or maybe a bit of both.
I had to be in a high scoring game, but then my brain started like, yo, it's Labor Day, 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 it's Labor Day in Hamilton. I wish it would be a high-scoring game on Labor Day in Hamilton where all we care about is defense. What? All we keep hearing is, we're tired of seeing these points get scored on our defense. We tired of seeing people run the ball on our defense. We tired of that. So it might be a lot of scoring on one side of the ball. I'm thinking a repeat of week 2. That's what I feel like it's going to be. 103 points, Rick. I'm taking the under. I don't gamble, but if I did, take the under.
Good call on that one. If there's 103 points scored, something went bizarre.
Oh, yeah, man. But this is the type of game it's going to be like, and you got to take like what the weather's going to be. We're about to jump into fall. What's the weather going to be? Because sometimes it's 2-quarter football, and with that, you're not going to be able to run up the score like you normally can when you're playing in like a Toronto and no light breeze and stuff like that. When you're able to score all them points when throwing the ball up to Kenny, Toronto has a lot to play for right now. Like you want, like nobody gets embarrassed like that and comes back. Like Coach Dinwiddie, the kind of coach he is, he's done drawn up so many different plays on how we are going to beat the Hamilton Tiger Cats. This is going to be a great game. I would say about like no, I would cap the thing at like 47 points.
Mm.
Okay, so 47-0 is what you're saying.
Now they might get a rouge or something.
Yeah, 47-1. 47-1.
It's hard to get a shutout in the CFL, that's for sure. Yeah, you know what? I like both offenses to move the ball. I'm not sure they're necessarily going to score a lot of points. I can see Hamilton because they're so well rested, and I think Scott Milanovich just has 2 weeks to prepare for this game. And the mad scientist has been in the back room drawing up all the crazy plays that they usually unleash, especially after a bye week. I can see the Ticats putting up at least 30-plus points. I'm not sure the Argos can get there. Again, the Ticats defense is going to be well rested. Toronto's coming off a pretty physical game against BC. Yeah, they were at home. They don't have to travel very far. But, those bumps and bruises kind of pile up, especially in the third, as you guys know, in the third and fourth quarter. So, especially it's going to be a physical Labor Day Classic, I think. I think Hamilton wins this game like 35-20-ish, something like that. So we'll see. It's going to be a lot of fun. We know that. Tiger Cats pregame begins at 1:30 on Monday. Kickoff is at 2:30 on the Ticats audio network. Sim, we'll go over to you on this one. Labor Day, you kind of referenced it a little bit. Labor Day means, autumn is right around the corner. Those fall days, those unpredictable weather moments, whether it's at home or on the road, they kind of pop up from time to time. Does that mean that the run game is going to be more important, or is that an outdated football mentality, knowing where the game is now compared to where it was, 10, 15, 20 years ago?
It's not outdated because the teams that win the Grey Cup run the football consistently. Winnipeg went away from running the football and tried to throw the ball all Grey Cup last year, and they lost to a team that they should have not lost to against Toronto because Toronto said, listen, we're going to play smash mouth football. We're going to give the ball to Kadeem Carey and run the ball. Yeah. Winnipeg Blue Bombers have been winning the Grey Cup because they rely on that running game to open up their pass game. That's the way the CFL is made. Like, you can be like, oh my gosh, these teams are throwing for 500, 400 yards. But when the game matters most, the teams that are winning are the teams with the balanced attack. And you're like, oh, it's summertime. Now it's fall. That means the leaves are blowing a little crazy. And whenever the wind blows, we know this in Hamilton Stadium, when that wind blows, this turns into 2-quarter football. Yes. And if you can't run the football in 2-quarter football and set up that RPO game so these linebackers are even like peeking up in the hole trying to stop this run, you're not going to win that battle. And that's the kind of game that the best teams are playing. If you look at the league all around the league, the people that think it's outdated, those are the teams that win some games and lose some games. The teams that are running the football consistently are consistently winning. And you look at the teams like the number one team, Saskatchewan. You look at Calgary. You look at Winnipeg. These guys understand that's how you win the football game in the Canadian Football League now. Like, of course, you want to throw the ball for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, but that's not realistic. Not when that wind's blowing and the ball starts to sail a little extra. Like, nobody's been able to cut the ball through the wind on this big field. The field's just too big, so you have to do what makes sense. And the only way you can do what makes sense is you got to be able to have the game where you can do this, hand the ball off, pull it out, and dink it and dunk it. But the only way you can do that is if you establish the running game to get that RPO game going. That's why Saskatchewan's so strong. That's why BC was able to come in here and steal a game away from us. That's why Edmonton's so strong right now with Cody Fajardo. It's this league, it'll tell you what is going on in the league, and that's why we have to be able to make sure that we can establish a consistent run game so we can use that play action pass and bomb these receivers or these D-backs over the top with Kenny Lawler and Tim White. Yeah, so it's not outdated at all because if you study history, the history of the champions have been the teams that have the balanced attack and can run the football.
You're exactly right, Matt. Sim mentioned the wind. We certainly see that from time to time in Hamilton, that's for sure. We're going to see, not only the leaves fall and the wind blow, but soon after, it's going to get cold. There's going to be some snow from time to time. Like the second half of the season, very different than the first half for sure. And the run game is vital, isn't it?
It's so vital. And if you can establish that run and you can impose your will on a defense where you're running the ball, you're also not only running the ball, but then you're also controlling time of possession. So that means if you're controlling time of possession, that means that's more opportunities for your offense and less opportunities for the opposing team's offense. And so when you're doing that, you're controlling it. You talked about Winnipeg, and Winnipeg has had a history of doing that very well, especially when they had Andrew Harris over there and they were controlling the clock. They're controlling the clock. It was just a matter of get first downs, get to second and short, second and medium, so we can have an opportunity to extend not only one first down, but sustain other first downs. And then, whether that's getting a touchdown or getting field goals or finding ways to get points or flip the field however they can, that's the way you can control and you impose your will. And now also, when the weather gets colder, some defenders don't like to tackle. Some defenders don't like to tackle.
Hey, why
in
you
that
just
cold.
say defensive backs don't like to tackle?
Hey, watch him out, watch him out, watch him out, watch him
Because
out.
don't,
Watch him out.
because I
Watch
know
him out.
I know the dogs don't do what
Watch
the
him out.
dogs do.
Watch him
Just
out, watch
say
him out.
who don't like to tackle, man. Tell the fans who don't like to tackle when it gets
So
chillier.
I didn't say, hey, I'm not going out positions. We're not calling out positions. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're just going to say some players, all right?
Is it
some
more likely
players.
that it is a defensive back, though?
No.
Absolutely, Rick. Matt
Come
lying
on
to you
now.
if he tells you
No. Hey,
anything
listen. When it got
different.
cold, we're out there tackling. So, but all
Them
I'm
boys
saying
have
is,
hoodies on underneath their shoulder pads.
hey, I will say this. I did wear a long sleeve. When it got cold, that's it. No hoodie though. No hoodie, just long sleeve. But
Hey,
listen,
but I got a question for you though, quick, Matt.
for sure.
Like when you coming into the box and you got to tackle Dedrick Mills consistently in the summertime, it's gonna feel a lot more different in the
wintertime.
late season. You know what I mean? For a
Right.
defensive back, right? Like that's just the way it is. That's just
Well,
life, you know.
yeah, just
the same
the
thing
way-
with
just
these
the way-
quarterbacks too.
Of course. It's the way some guys are built. It's the way some guys are built. But some guys love that contact though. Some guys are like they love getting dirty, making tackles, making plays. You ask a DB to come into the box, or you're
Front
asking.
seven.
Hey, listen, I'm not going to name names. Some guys, some defenders don't like tackling in the winter. I'm telling you, Sim. I'm telling you this. But I'm not going to name names. Come on, I told you that. I'm not naming names.
I'm not going to name names neither, but I'm going to tell you the position group it is. It's the defensive backs. That's what it is.
I know for a fact there's going to be a lot of DBs that's going to argue this. But what I'm saying though is it's tougher. It makes it tougher. And if you're an offense and you can impose your will and you can grind these defenses down, that's why the run game it's so important. And Cindy talked about having that balanced attack. If you can run that ball, and if you become an offense that is just one dimensional and you're just passing the ball all the time, it's going to be really difficult to win games. The wind's going to carry the ball. You can't. It just makes it a lot harder, I should say. But when you have that run involved, and now you're getting to 2nd and 6 or a 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3 after getting a 7-yard run on first down with your running back. Now your playbook opens up so much more, and now that becomes almost, especially sometimes in the playoff, depending on field position. Now it's almost 3-down football, because now you're saying, okay, on second down, I know we're confident we're going to get another 2 yards at least. Now it's 3rd and 1. Now we quarterback sneak, or we do whatever the play calls for us to take that extra 1 yard to extend that first down. And so I think being able to run that ball, teams. It's proven teams that run the ball, they do have that success, especially in the postseason. And so you want to be a team that's going to be great. You can sell the tickets in the summertime, but then win the championships come wintertime.
Absolutely, and you got to reward your big boys.
Exactly.
All summer, your big boys been sucking for air. Now they can finally breathe, and they not gonna get tired. you know,
Right.
because in the summertime, them 300-pound boys, that boy, like they have
It's tough.
now it's the winter time. This is their style of football now.
Oxygen
Now
tanks
it's
on the
time,
sideline.
put your chin straps up, coach, and let me go run these boys over. I'm not getting tired, coach. Don't pass drop me all day in the cold. Let me put my pads on these little guys, please.
Yeah.
You gotta reward your big boys up front. Absolutely.
Still with the run game too, and this is from a defensive psychological standpoint. I know it's a big part of the game, right? The mental side of the game is if you can't stop the run, especially when it's getting cold, like that's got to be mentally draining, right? Because the thought is, man, they're just running us over, right? Is that kind of like what you're thinking?
It's not even that. It's just what it does to you at the end of the football game. If you can get that run under control in the first half, second quarter, you're not going to have to worry about it later, right? But when you don't, it comes back and bites you later because it's like your corners and your halfbacks, those are who are they're trying to make all the tackles. So as a D coordinator, you have to protect your defensive backs because if they're making about 5-10 tackle attempts in the first half, going into the second half, that's opening up the play action where the linebackers are going to come up a little bit and these defensive backs are going to lose the race a little bit and it's just going to be pitch and catch. So anytime you establish the run game early, now the football players have to be football players to your point, Rick, about the mental game. When I know the runs stopped and we got this understood, the whole game changes. The game just turns into, oh my gosh, I can line up at 7 yards and react on everything because we already did our job. Now I can just make some football plays. So the mental aspect is big on there, especially if you cannot stop it in the first half. But knowing that you're going to buy run all day, you should be like, let's go. You know what we're going to buy? We're buying run because we can't stop run. So we're going to have to stop the run. We're going to have to find a way to stop the run, get a couple of TFLs early in the game and get up and talk and stay on top of them because that's the most important thing when it starts to get the fall time. Stop the run. I don't care what every single football team I've been on, it's like, let's stop the run and play football because no offensive coordinator wants to run the football. They all want to throw this and do this and do that. So if you give them a reason to do what they want to do, give them the reason. All you got to do is stop it. Keep stopping it. Give them the reason to do what they want to do. And then it becomes easy football, turnover football that the Ticats have been great at this season.
I want to jump on something you said earlier, Sim, as well, because when the wind does howl, especially in Hamilton, we know it, comes roaring down the hill and, across the field, basically, and it makes it a two-quarter kind of football game. You're either winning the first and the third, or maybe the first and the fourth, depending on the coin flip or whatever. Defensively, does the game plan or the mindset change in terms of how we're going to stop the offense who does have the wind at their back or is going into the wind?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Rick. My brain turns off when we got windy games. What? I know every single play that's going to happen. We call it two-quarter football because literally you're not supposed to get beat on defense when the team's going against the wind because they have no playbook. Their playbook is the RPO game, meaning it's a run-pass option, it's a screen game, and it's a run game. That's all they have. They don't have no deep routes, no digs. They can't throw the digs. That's going to get picked. That's going to sail up. It's a very simple game. And I used to love to. You could literally call the plays. We used to have this defense called Ticat. We could run Ticat against the wind for the whole game and stop every single offense. So easy. Just one defense stops that when you're going against the wind. And that's only if you can't run the ball, though. If you can run the ball, now it's getting tricky because those RPOs, that's when you seen, and when we played Edmonton the first time in week 2, when they was doing that, they were running the ball, so they were sinking them linebackers up, and then they kept dinking and kept running the same exact plays. And it looks like the same plays, but mentally it's not because, what if they hand the ball off and Olette runs for another 60-yarder, So it's that kind of psychological warfare too. So boys, buckle up. You got to stop that. Stop
Matt,
the run.
when the defense has the wind at their back, so the offense is going into the wind, which is much more difficult for the offense to make plays and obviously score points. From a defensive standpoint, is it more important to be disciplined in that case, or is it okay to be aggressive? How do you approach that?
You have to. It's a bit of both. You got to pick your spots. You don't want to completely take gambles, because this is how sometimes guys get beat, right? But again, if you're understanding down and distance, you're understanding where you are on the field. You've done your film study. You've been looking at their tendencies, studying their tendencies. You're gonna get a feel for the game, because one of the things that you want to do is you want to take these offenses, especially as a defense, you want to take these offenses out of rhythm. They're creatures of habit. All these offenses, they're creatures of habit, and they're going to become habitual. So if you could take them out of their rhythm, this is where you can now, it's like, okay, we got them on their heels. We have this offense on their heels now. We could kind of pick our spots, and we could take a chance. But if that's not the case, like for example, like Sim was saying, where they're moving the ball, they're running the ball, that's not time to gamble. This is time to like stay disciplined, because the reason they're getting these yards is because we've been undisciplined. We're not sound right now somewhere, and so we got to fix that. And so it's just understanding the flow of the game.
And I'll tell you even more. I'll go into even more for you, Rick and Matt. This is how it is. When teams have the win to their side, they want as many offensive plays as possible because they can run their offense. So when they have to punt the ball, they're sprinting their punt team out and they're kicking it as fast as they can because they want to hurry up and get that ball back with the win. And when the team does not have the win, they're going to take their time. When they're going to make sure that clock hits all the way to 2 before they snap the ball. That's how important it is. They're trying to take as much time away from the team that has the win, and the team that has the win is trying to get as much time with the win because they can call and use their whole playbook.
Right.
Well, I know weather-wise on Labor Day, I'm not sure about the wind yet, but it's supposed to be a mix of sun and cloud and a high of about 22 or so. Maybe we'll call it 21 degrees. That'll be a nice high.
21, yeah, man. Don't forget to go in your stores and catch the 21 championship mindset.
That's
jerseys.
right. Is that available in the Ticats store right now?
I mean, not right now, but on the weekend. So when y'all listening to us right now, this weekend we're going to drop. I might do a little signing on Sunday. I'm not sure yet,
Nice.
But make sure you go and cop them. It's limited edition throwback. You know, it's my mental health jerseys. You got to go check out the video about it, about why it's so important, especially the Labor Day game. You know, I tell everybody about my mental health journey after that 2019 season coming into the 2021 season when we finally had the fans back on Labor Day and just scoring that touchdown, about just having a championship mindset. And that's what this jersey represents. You know, some of the proceeds are going to go to our HSG function where we're trying to help a lot of young kids with mental health and stuff. You know, we just keep kicking butt in the community as well, too, when we get
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Championship mindset. We got the Ted Govaya Bowl. We got the Labor Day Classic. Lots of great things
Just
happening.
great
I love picking
things.
your-
Good vibes.
Yes. Absolutely. Love picking your guys' brains, and I'm looking forward to the Ticats picking apart the Argos on Labor Day Monday. Tiger Cats pregame begins at 1:30. Kickoff is at 2:30 on the Ticats audio network. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't done so already. A new episode of Tiger Cats This Week will drop next week.
This has been the Ticats This Week on the Ticats Audio Network. Like, follow, and get a deeper understanding of your Hamilton Tiger Cats.